You're here because life didn't just challenge you, it tried to break you. Good. A man's edge is carved in moments where the world expects him to fold and he refuses. Happiness isn't gifted, it's seized, built deliberately, guarded viciously. Most people beg for peace. You will forge it, shaping your mind into a weapon no situation can disarm. Life won't soften for you, it will test you, strip you, expose you, and through that pressure you either crumble or crystallize into someone the world should have never underestimated. Machiavelli understood the truth men fear to face. You control nothing outside yourself, but command your inner kingdom, and no force, person, failure, or betrayal can touch your core. Your transformation begins the moment you stop chasing comfort and start mastering your psychology. Cold introspection, ruthless discipline, strategic emotion. That's how you rise above the chaos clawing at weaker minds. Comment this now to claim your foundation. My mind is my fortress. Don't just type it, declare it. Burn it into the architecture of your identity so the world knows you're rebuilding from steel. Stay locked in. This is the beginning of your ascent, a quiet, calculated rebirth into someone who bends adversity until it serves them. Prepare yourself. Part 2 is approaching, and after it, there's no going back. Number 1, the cost of happiness. You want happiness in a world designed to break you. Understand this first. Happiness is not soft, gentle, or peaceful. It is carved from suffering, paid for with pieces of the man you used to be, and the price is non-negotiable. Most people collapse because they expect happiness to feel good. It won't. At the beginning, it burns. It exposes your weakness, your self-deception, and every fragile lie you tell yourself. The world doesn't need your emotions. It demands your evolution. You've been conditioned to believe happiness comes after comfort. But comfort is the cage. It suffocates ambition, numbs instinct, and blinds you to your own potential. If you stay comfortable, you stay small, and the world devours small men without apology. The only path out is cold self-domination. You force discipline when your mind begs for softness. You rise when the world pushes you to crawl. You become your own executioner, killing the weakness, slowing your ascent. That is how power is born. Here is the truth. No motivational guru will tell you. Happiness comes from control. Strategic, ruthless control over your reactions, your impulses, your narrative. When you respond without emotion, you remove your enemy's leverage. When you choose your own suffering, the world loses its power to wound you. You think your pain is punishment. It's not. It is instruction. Every betrayal, failure, disappointment, each one carries information about who you must become. Pain is the most loyal teacher you'll ever meet because it never lets you lie to yourself. Stop expecting life to treat you fairly. Fairness is a myth sold to the weak. The elite accept a harsher truth. The world rewards the calculating, the disciplined, the unshakably self-directed. You want happiness? Weaponize your suffering until it works for you. When you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what is this building in me? You steal the world's advantage. You turn tragedy into strategy. You convert chaos into clarity. And suddenly, life no longer feels impossible. It becomes predictable, controllable, exploitable. Comment this phrase to anchor your awakening. My suffering builds my power. Write it like you're signing a pact with your future self. The man you become will thank you. The man you were will fear you. That is the point. The solution to your misery isn't external. It's internal reconstruction. You must tear down the version of yourself shaped by approval, fear, and hesitation. Build the man who acts without permission. Build the mind that stands unwavering in storms. That mind becomes your kingdom. Happiness is not the ending. It is a side effect, a byproduct of becoming someone untouchable. And that journey begins now, in silence, in discipline, in the cold. Part 3 will show you exactly how to weaponize your internal world. Stay locked in. Number 2, turning pain into strategy. Pain is not your enemy, it is your blueprint. Every wound you've taken carries instructions on how to rebuild yourself stronger, sharper, and more aware. The world doesn't care about your scars, but it respects the man who learns how to weaponize them. While others drown in emotion, you will dissect yours with surgical detachment. You will learn why you break, where you bend, and what you must abandon. This is not self-care. This is self-reconstruction, the kind Machiavelli admired. Ruthless, precise, emotionless when necessary. Your suffering becomes strategic the moment you stop reacting and start calculating. Instead of asking, "How do I escape this pain?" you ask, "What advantage does this pain give me?" That mindset shift alone separates leaders from victims and predators from prey. Understand this. People will exploit your reactions long before they understand your intentions. When you master your emotional triggers, you remove their access to your weaknesses. Your composure becomes a shield, your silence a weapon, your restraint a warning. Every disappointment taught you where not to place your loyalty. Every betrayal taught you who to never trust again. Every failure revealed the cracks in your discipline. These aren't tragedies, they're coordinates. Coordinates pointing toward your higher, colder, more strategic self. The man who learns from pain becomes unpredictable, dangerous, and quietly powerful. Not because he seeks destruction, but because he cannot be destroyed by the same blows that cripple ordinary men. Your resilience becomes your reputation, and your reputation becomes leverage. Stop searching for healing outside yourself. Pain doesn't vanish, it transforms. What you once called suffering becomes fuel. Every setback becomes a tactic. Every heartbreak becomes a recalibration. This is psychological alchemy, turning internal chaos into cold, controlled forward momentum. When you stop being ashamed of your wounds, you start using them. People fear the man who has suffered deeply because he carries a depth they cannot comprehend. They know nothing they do can shake him. That is the essence of untouchable strength. Comment this phrase to lock in your transformation. My pain sharpens my strategy. This isn't motivation, it's a declaration of sovereignty over your own internal world. Say it with intention, because your next evolution depends on it. If you can analyze your pain without emotional distortion, you become a strategist of your own mind. You stop fighting life and start maneuvering through it. You stop resisting reality and start bending it. This is how suffering becomes precision. This is how misery becomes mastery. Pain does not define you. What you do with it does, and now you will use it to carve a colder, stronger identity. In part 4, you'll learn how to build a mind that no insult, betrayal, or circumstance can corrupt. Stay focused. Your rise is inevitable. Number 3, building the untouchable mind. Strength doesn't begin in your body, it begins in your mind. And most minds are fragile, overstimulated, emotionally unstable, addicted to validation. To become untouchable, you must rebuild your inner world into something colder, disciplined, and immune to the chaos of weak people. An untouchable mind is engineered, not inherited. It requires 3 components: emotional reduction, strategic thinking, and ruthless self-honesty. You remove unnecessary feelings, replace impulses with calculation, and confront the ugly truths you've avoided. Only then does your mind become a fortress no one can breach. To strengthen your mind, you must isolate yourself from noise, not physically, mentally. Detach from opinions, detach from expectations, detach from the false urgency of others. When you detach, the world loses its grip on you. Their judgments become irrelevant. Their pressure becomes meaningless. Your silence becomes your power. Weak men talk to feel significant. Strong men speak only to direct outcomes. Every word becomes intentional, calculated. Your restraint unnerves people. They cannot predict you, manipulate you, or control you. Silence turns you into a psychological threat. Emotional discipline is your next weapon. Don't suppress emotions. Go deeper. Study them. Understand their origin. Dissect them without mercy. When you know what triggers you, you remove the strings others could pull. You become unreadable, unshakable, and immune to psychological warfare. Most men crumble because they trust too easily. An untouchable mind trusts patterns, not promises, behavior, not words. You observe quietly, Judge slowly and never reveal how much you know. People show you their intentions if you remain patient, controlled, and strategically indifferent. Rejection, betrayal, and disappointment are inevitable, but they lose power when you stop personalizing them. These events aren't attacks, they are data. Data that shows you who deserves access to your life and who belongs outside your gates forever. Control your focus and you control your reality. Direct your attention only toward what strengthens you, your growth, your mission, your discipline. Everything else is distraction disguised as comfort. The untouchable mind eliminates anything that doesn't elevate its purpose. Comment this phrase to claim your mental sovereignty. My mind bows to no one. Those 5 words signal the birth of a man who refuses to be controlled by emotion, guilt, or fear. Say it, own it. Let it become your internal command. When your mind becomes independent, disciplined, and self-directed, you stop fearing the world, and the world starts fearing you. Because nothing is more intimidating than someone who cannot be emotionally shaken. In part 5, you'll learn how to project this power so strongly that people adjust themselves in your presence. Stay cold. Stay calculating. Number 4, projecting cold power. Power isn't what you say. Power is what people feel when you enter a room. A cold presence cuts deeper than aggression. It forces others to adjust their tone, their posture, even their intentions. Your energy becomes the silent authority they can't ignore. Cold power begins with controlled stillness. You move slower, speak less, and react rarely. This creates psychological tension. People sense you're not desperate for approval or attention. That absence of need forces them to step into your frame instead of dragging you into theirs. Your eyes must be steady, unblinking, unhurried. Don't scan anxiously. Observe intentionally. Look at people long enough for them to realize you're analyzing, not admiring. A calm gaze communicates something primal. You see through facades, and you can't be deceived easily. Never over-explain. Weak people explain themselves endlessly to justify their choices. Powerful people speak in minimal absolutes, clear decisions, clean boundaries, firm statements. When you speak directly, people feel the finality of your words and instinctively treat them with respect. Your posture is another weapon. Stand grounded, balanced, shoulders back, not in arrogance, but in readiness. You look like a man who won't be moved emotionally or physically. Those who appear unshakable become psychologically dominant without exerting force. Control your reactions. When someone tries to provoke you, pause. Let silence settle between their words and your response. Silence is pressure. It makes them rethink their intentions, exposed under your calm detachment. They feel the weight of their own insecurity. A man projecting cold power chooses his emotional output carefully. No excessive laughter, no performative friendliness, no desperate positivity. Your warmth becomes rare and therefore valuable. People recognize that your approval cannot be bought. It must be earned. This scarcity builds quiet influence. Detach from praise as much as criticism. When someone compliments you, accept it with neutral acknowledgement. When someone insults you, return the same neutrality. Indifference confuses manipulators and disarms the insecure. Your unresponsiveness reveals their irrelevance to your self-worth. Comment this phrase to anchor your new presence. My presence speaks louder than words. Write it with conviction, because when your presence becomes your power, people feel you before they understand you, and respect you before they question you. When you project cold power, people instinctively mirror your behavior. They lower their emotional volume. They become more careful with their words. They sense boundaries without needing them spelled out. Your existence becomes a quiet command, and your silence becomes a standard. In next part, you'll learn how to use this influence to shape environments, relationships, and outcomes with precision. Stay cold, stay sovereign. Number 5, control the environment. Control your destiny. Your environment shapes your psychology more than your intentions do. Weak men ignore this truth and wonder why they stay trapped. Strong men manipulate their surroundings with precision, removing anything that dilutes their focus or threatens their evolution. Control the environment, and you control the man within it. Most people live in chaos. No structure, no discipline, no boundaries. Their environments drain them before the world even gets a chance. You must build a space that reflects your purpose. Clean, ordered, silent. A mind cannot become powerful in a room that feels like a battlefield. Your environment must limit distractions ruthlessly. Remove people who waste your time. Remove habits that weaken your identity. Remove objects that remind you of the man you're trying to escape. Every item you keep should serve your growth, not your nostalgia or your comfort. Energy contamination is real. One weak, chaotic person can destabilize your entire internal world. Surround yourself with individuals who operate with clarity, ambition, and emotional discipline. When your circle levels up, your psychology rises with it, or you eliminate the ones pulling you downward. Time is the most manipulated resource. Weak men give it freely. Powerful men guard it like a weapon. Structure your hours so every morning, afternoon, and night serves your long-term strategy. Unstructured time is where dreams die and mediocrity spreads. Your environment also includes digital space, social media, notifications, endless scrolling, all engineered to fracture your attention. A man who cannot control his inputs will never control his outcomes. Curate what you consume like a strategist selecting intelligence, not entertainment. Silence must become your ally, not your fear. Most people drown in noise because it distracts them from facing their own mind. But silence sharpens awareness, strengthens discipline, and exposes weaknesses you must eliminate. A cold environment produces a cold, unshakable mindset. Every environment has leverage points, subtle places where small changes create massive impact. Your sleep routine, your workspace, your relationships, your habits. Identify the weak link and fortify it. When your environment stops fighting you, progress becomes inevitable. Comment this phrase to claim your control. I command my environment. Because a man who shapes his surroundings shapes his destiny. And a man who cannot control his space can never control his future. Once you redesign your external world, you'll notice a shift. Your thoughts become cleaner, your emotions calmer, your decisions sharper. People will ask what changed, assuming it's luck or confidence. But it's structure, precision, sovereignty. You've taken control where most surrender. Number 6, discipline as a weapon. Discipline is the blade that cuts through chaos. Without it, you are a man reacting to life instead of directing it. With it, you become a force that bends reality to your will. Discipline is not motivation. It is the cold execution of what must be done. Weak men crave feelings before action. Powerful men act regardless of feeling. Discipline requires that you detach from mood, emotion, or convenience. You do the work because it strengthens your identity, not because it's comfortable. Consistency is where true dominance is formed. Every disciplined act sharpens your self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, you carve power into your psychology. When you break them, you fracture your identity. Discipline is the quiet contract between you and the man you're becoming. Violating it weakens everything. Your mind must associate discipline with survival. Not as an option, not as a hobby, but as a requirement for your rise. When discipline becomes instinct, you stop negotiating with excuses and start operating with precision. You become intolerant of your own weakness. Routine is your backbone. Build one so precise that it becomes part of your internal DNA. Wake, train, work, improve, evaluate. Repetition builds mastery, and mastery builds influence. A man with a strong routine becomes unshakable because structure protects him from his own self-sabotage. Discipline demands isolation before admiration. You will lose people who fear accountability and despise consistency. Let them go. Their presence would have poisoned your path. The disciplined man walks alone long before he walks above. Solitude is part of the price. Reward yourself not with indulgence, but with progress. The weak celebrate tiny victories with self-destruction. The strong celebrate with sharper goals, cleaner habits, and elevated standards. Discipline is not about suffering, it's about ascending. Every action should pull you closer to the man you respect. When you fail, analyze ruthlessly, not emotionally. Failure is feedback, not identity. Discipline means recalibrating, adjusting, and returning stronger. The world respects the man who cannot be derailed by setbacks because he responds with strategy instead of self-pity. Comment this phrase with intent. My discipline makes me dangerous. This isn't a slogan, it's a psychological anchor. The more you repeat it, the more your mind aligns with the identity of a man who follows through no matter what. As discipline solidifies, your presence changes. People feel the difference. They sense your structure, your self-control, your quiet intensity. They may envy it, fear it, or admire it, but they cannot ignore it. Discipline is the foundation of cold power, and without it, nothing else lasts. Number 7. Emotional control. The art of internal war. The strongest men are not the ones who feel nothing. They are the ones who control everything they feel. Emotion is an internal battlefield, and most men lose because they fight blindly. You will win by mastering the war happening inside your own mind. Emotional control begins with awareness, not reacting instantly, not letting impulses dictate your next move. You observe your emotions like a strategist analyzing enemy troops, detached, calculating, waiting for the most effective response instead of the fastest one. This alone separates you from the average man. People will try to provoke you. They will test your boundaries, poke at your insecurities, and attempt to draw you into emotional chaos. When you respond with cold neutrality, you expose their weakness and reveal your strength. Their power dies the moment your emotions remain untouched. Feel your emotions fully, but never act on them prematurely. Anger is energy, fear is data, sadness is reflection. Every emotion contains intelligence, but only if you process it without ego. Emotional control is not suppression, it is refinement, the art of extracting insight from suffering. Detach your identity from your feelings. You are not your anger, your hurt, or your doubt. These are temporary storms passing over a permanent core. When you stop defining yourself by temporary emotions, nothing can destabilize your internal structure. Stability becomes your signature. Never reveal your triggers. Once people know what agitates you, they can manipulate you. Hide your emotional vulnerabilities like state secrets. Show calmness even when your blood is boiling. This forces others to guess, and uncertainty becomes your psychological advantage. Your composure will intimidate people who rely on emotional chaos to control others. They won't know how to handle someone who cannot be dragged into drama or provoked into foolishness. This is the silent dominance Machiavellian thinkers mastered, winning without visible aggression. Train emotional control through adversity. Every argument you don't engage in, every insult you don't react to, every setback you analyze instead of curse, these moments forge resilience. Emotional discipline is built in small battles long before the world witnesses your larger victories. Comment this phrase to declare your inner dominance. My emotions serve me, not control me. Let it anchor itself deep within you. Because a man who commands his emotions becomes a man immune to psychological attacks, envy, and manipulation. That is true invincibility. Once emotional control becomes natural, you operate from a higher plane. You make decisions based on strategy, not desperation. You navigate relationships with clarity instead of attachment. You act from power instead of fear. Emotional mastery turns you into a man who cannot be shaken. Number 8. Subtle influence, bending reality without force. Power is never loud. Real power works in silence, moving pieces, shaping outcomes, and influencing decisions long before anyone realizes what happened. Influence is not about controlling people. It's about controlling the environment their decisions grow inside. Quiet dominance is the most fearsome kind. To influence effectively, detach from the need to be understood. You don't persuade with explanations. You persuade with presence, with consistency, with psychological steadiness. People follow the man who looks least affected by chaos. Your emotional neutrality becomes a gravitational pull. Speak less. Observe more. You gain power by allowing others to reveal themselves, their motives, their weaknesses. When people talk freely, they give you information. When you remain silent, you give them nothing. This imbalance creates leverage, the foundation of all influence. When you do speak, use deliberate precision. No rambling, no oversharing, no emotional outbursts. Your words should feel carved from ice, clear, strategic, and calculated. People obey clarity instinctively because it signals authority. Vagueness is where weak men live. Precision is where powerful men operate. Influence grows through controlled unpredictability. Don't be fully readable. Don't react instantly. Don't praise or criticize easily. This forces people to evaluate their own behavior when dealing with you. They adjust themselves subconsciously, trying to remain in your favor. Subtle fear is stronger than loud threats. Your self-respect becomes a psychological weapon. When people see you give nothing away cheaply, your time, your trust, your attention, they start valuing your presence more than their comfort. Scarcity increases demand. You don't need to demand respect. You create an environment where disrespect feels dangerous. Never argue. Arguments are battles fought by insecure men. You influence through calm logic, detached observation, and unwavering standards. When someone tries to challenge you, let them burn their energy while you conserve yours. Their emotional expenditure exposes their weakness. Your stillness confirms your dominance. To bend outcomes, guide people with subtle framing. Present choices in ways that lead them toward your preferred direction while making them believe it was their idea. Influence thrives where ego blinds people from seeing they've been directed. This is the essence of dark psychology. Comment this phrase to anchor your new identity. My silence shapes outcomes. Because your power is no longer in force, it's in the invisible strings you pull through composure, observation, and strategic communication. This phrase signals your transformation into a man whose presence alters decisions. When you master subtle influence, life becomes easier. People open doors for you. Opportunities flow toward you. Conflicts dissolve before reaching you. Not because you begged, argued, or fought, but because you crafted an aura that commands compliance without effort. Number 9. Eradicating weakness at the root. Weakness doesn't disappear on its own. It must be hunted, tracked, exposed, eliminated without mercy. Every flaw you ignore becomes a chain around your future. Every habit you tolerate becomes an anchor on your potential. A man becomes powerful only when he becomes intolerant of his own excuses. Your first target is mental softness, the part of you that avoids discomfort, seeks validation, and fears confrontation. This version of you must die, not slowly, immediately. Weakness grows through hesitation, and hesitation is the silent killer of every ambition you've ever had. Identify your patterns with brutal honesty, the distractions you run to, the people who drain you, the habits that keep you numb. Seeing them clearly is painful, but necessary. You cannot cut what you refuse to confront. Awareness is the first incision. Next, eliminate emotional parasites. People who feed on your energy, attention, or empathy without offering growth. These individuals are psychological infections. They weaken your standards, distort your focus, and sabotage your discipline. Remove them cleanly. A man rising cannot carry dead weight. Weakness often hides in nostalgia, the parts of you still attached to old identities, old failures, old comfort zones. Let them go. Burn the bridges leading back to who you were. Only then can you walk fully into who you are becoming without the temptation of retreat. Self-pity must be executed. It keeps you trapped in the belief that life owes you understanding. It doesn't. The world rewards action, not suffering. Replace pity with precision. Replace guilt with responsibility. Replace fear with preparation. Strength grows only where excuses cannot survive. Discipline becomes the blade that cuts weakness out. Every time you choose structure over impulse, you rewrite your internal script. Every time you ignore temptation, you fortify your resilience. Weak men drown in desire. Strong men turn desire into controlled power. Your environment, habits, and mindset must work together like a cold machine. No clutter, no chaos, no emotional leakage. Weakness thrives in distraction, noise, and emotional indulgence. You eliminate all three, and weakness suffocates. You become a man governed by clarity. Comment this phrase to cement your transition. I destroy what weakens me. This is not aggression, it is self-preservation. A man who protects his purpose must be willing to cut away anything that threatens it, including his former self. Write it with finality. Once you eradicate weakness, people will notice, not because you brag, but because your energy changes. You stand firmer, you speak sharper, you move with a decisiveness that unsettles those who haven't evolved. They'll fear losing access to you, and that fear becomes your leverage. Number 10. The untouchable identity. Becoming untouchable isn't about looking strong. It's about becoming a man whose mind cannot be infiltrated, whose emotions cannot be manipulated, and whose purpose cannot be redirected. You've carved yourself through pain, discipline, and ruthless introspection. Now you assemble the final version of yourself. Your identity must no longer be reactive. It must be engineered, designed, built from principles, not feelings. This identity does not negotiate with weakness, fear, or external pressure. It stands like a fortress, silent, intimidating, and unreachable to anyone who does not deserve access. To become untouchable, you must detach your sense of worth from every external source: people, outcomes, validation, approval. The world has no permission to define you anymore. Once your value comes from within, the opinions of others become meaningless background noise. Your identity becomes a code, unbreakable, consistent, unmistakably yours. A cold combination of purpose, strategy, resilience, and power. You act with intention, speak with precision, and walk with a calmness that unsettles those who still live in emotional chaos. They feel the gap. You've outgrown them. Untouchable doesn't mean emotionless. It means selective. You choose what matters, what enters your mind, what deserves your reaction. Your attention becomes sacred. Your energy becomes rare. Your love, trust, and time become privileges, not default offerings. This is the psychology of kings. Your transformation is not loud. It is quiet, controlled, undeniable. People will sense the shift in you long before they understand it. They will speak softer, act wiser, and approach cautiously, not because you demanded respect, but because your aura commands it automatically. Comment this final phrase to seal your identity: I am untouchable. This is your declaration, your signature, the final mark of a man who has rebuilt himself through cold wisdom and ruthless self-control. Write it with full conviction, because after today, you no longer return to who you were. Now, carry this identity forward, live it, guard it, sharpen it. And remember, this channel, Dark Tactics, exists to turn men into their most strategic, powerful, disciplined selves. So if this journey reshaped you, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your rise begins now.